drawings. Nobody seems to finish them at a certain stage. Everybody goes through it. Everybody goes through this phase, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my experience and how to get over this phase. All right, so let's hop right into it. I'm going to go into the drawing chair, and what's going to happen is you're going to watch me draw while I'm talking, so you're not sitting there staring at a blank screen. That is it. Okay, don't forget, hit the subscribe, click the bell notification, hit that like, all of that stuff. Let's hop right in. So let's talk really quick about finishing your art, right? And why that's kind of vital and important for pretty much the future. If you're somebody that wants to become a lifelong artist, that's kind of something you're going to have to do. You're going to have plenty of art sticking around on the side there that you're not going to have done. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, this is actually based off a model that I have sitting around. Yeah, really cool model. I'll put the link in the description if you'd like the model enough to go get it on Amazon. But yeah, so there's this common thing about not finishing your art. It's a very common, I'm not really sure where it develops this habit. I think it's from completing so many sketches that you never really produce anything after that. You know, you get used to doing these small sketches, and then you even sometimes don't complete those, right? The idea is that you're gonna have to start, filing these sketches and drawings, and maybe coloring them, and really producing, part of a portfolio. And I've been there as well. I know that hurts to do that. And I've had my teacher tell me that too. I had a teacher when I first learned to draw, like 15 years ago. He was like, "Man, you're sketching a bunch, but you're literally producing nothing. You're just doing a couple of pieces here once a year, and you should be honestly, you should have a totally different portfolio every 6 months. Like, meaning your finished work, that should be totally different every 6 months because you're producing so much. So kind of take that into account. And this is only for people who are, going to be lifelong artists and stuff like that. You want to kind of keep a steady mind and just make a decision, right? There's a phrase called, if there's a fork in the road, take it. Right? Meaning you make a decision one way or the other. Whether your drawing doesn't turn out that great, that's one of the biggest reasons I've seen, for not completing art. So I would say number one reason people don't complete art, in my opinion, is because it's kind of an ego thing. As long as the artwork stays unfinished, whether that be a sketch or a long ink drawing, if it stays unfinished, you're never gonna realize how crummy it's gonna come out, right? It's always gonna be like, oh, that could be good if I can finish it. It's always gonna be at that point. And I understand that, right? But that's a subconscious thing you don't want, right? You want to be able to finish and store your art and just kind of be like, cool, I'm glad I got that done, and then you can go to it later. But that's not the reality of it. So what you have to do, essentially, the other reason people don't complete art is purely out of laziness. I've seen that as well too. There's too many ideas that you have. You have way too many ideas. It's a flood of too many. And you just don't really get the opportunity to go back and complete the project that you wanted to, because you start too many projects at one time. And that's something that you should work on, right? That is something you absolutely should work on and be fully aware that you're doing. It is something incredibly important to kind of check yourself on, to kind of go, oh, okay, this is something that needs to be filed in and finished. And it's the other reason to do that is because it's gonna flex that muscle, that completion muscle, where you're gonna be like, okay, you've been there, you've actually completed a piece of art, and been like, boom, did that, took care of that. You've been there many times. And the more you're there, the more you're going to be able to do it on command for like a client, which is incredibly important, right? When you're doing that stuff for a client, you need to finish it, right? And I've been in a place where I was doing some artwork, like way back when I was first doing commissions. I would hit this point in my brain, and I would just, I don't know what it was. Something was holding me back from literally picking up that pencil or pen or marker or digital tool and actually completing it. It was just something that was not letting me do it. And you kind of get over those a lot when you just force yourself to complete something. You start to wear down that muscle, preventing you from completing your task. And you know what I mean. If you're already like decent at drawing, if you've been drawing for a while, you will know what it's like to push through certain things. You really understand what it's like to push through certain things. And that's a big part of it. You have this parking, what is it, like a parking brake stuck in your mind, and you start to wear that down the more you do it. So, and I've given this example before, but before I was really crummy at drawing girls, and I was like, man, I cannot draw girls to save my life. So I just started drawing a bunch of them, you know, and they're not very good, they're okay, you know. I already learned the structure of how to draw a girl, but they just look a little bizarre, and I'm like, what's wrong with them, right? What's going wrong with them? So I end up just kind of drawing, I just pour it on. I end up drawing a ton of them. And the first I would say 1,000 are just horrendous. They're just like, man, that looks weird. It just doesn't look like what I intended it to. Even though I already technically knew how to do it, it just wasn't flying, you know. It wasn't dynamic enough. They were stiff heads. So I just kept going until they were getting a little bit less and less stiff as I went along, and it helped so much. It helps tremendously. And that's kind of what you do with the finishing process. You force yourself to finish something to what you're capable of to. I know if you're thinking like, oh, you don't even have the skills to finish something, don't worry about it. Just kind of work on it as much as you possibly can, and that's all that's required, pretty much. Once you have that level of completion, you will feel much more accomplished, and you're going to feel like the neurons in your brain are activating in a way they never have. If you've never finished a full piece, or even finished a full sketch, just completely finish it as much as you possibly can. All right, that was it. Hopefully that was awesome. You got it. What I want you to do is to check this next video out. It's kind of integral. They're kind of a package deal. So absolutely click on this video next and check that video. It's incredibly short, but it goes with this and really clarifies a lot.